Um, I'm Harold. I'm 43 years old. Um, I grew up in Vancouver Island, but originally immigrated from the Philippines. So this is way back in 1994. So I'm almost here for 30 years. So that's about it. And then, did some high schooling and went to college and took a culinary program. And now here I am doing my own thing. Definitely immigrating, you got your struggles for sure. Totally different culture. Like that's one of the biggest thing, right? And then the fact that we have to learn another language, that's another thing. So there's always a barrier for that. But in due time, we kind of adjust to it, and then we can, communicate better, like learn the English language and all that stuff. And it wasn't too hard, like learning English, because they teach it in the Philippines. That's like, it's a mandatory thing that you have to pass or learn to pass high school or move on to graduate towards college. So yeah, coming here, definitely, there's that. From what I remember, it's just really hard to speak back, but I could understand pretty much fully what everybody's talking about. It's just like, saying it back and how to like pronounce it and like, use it in a sentence, There's always a stutter, you always think about things. And for the most part, I adjusted pretty well, I think, with being here, especially schooling and all that. And so at the moment, my parents are separated. There's always my dad decided to sponsor us from the Philippines, so me and my siblings came over. My oldest sister first, me, and the second to the youngest. There's all three of us came in first, and then my mom and my youngest sister was left behind. And then afterwards, when the time was right, we decided to like sponsor my mom and my youngest sister. So all the family are here now, and most of them are living in Nanaimo. And other younger sibling, my sister, she lives in Calgary at the moment. They all have little kids now. I'm the only one who got left out. No kids, no wife at the moment. So, this is why I could do this on a daily basis. I don't have to worry about anything but just me. So I grew up in Manila, but my hometown is like a small little island in the Philippines. It's by Boracay. So that's a really hot tourist hotspot. It's ranked pretty much like top 10 beaches in the world. So it's kind of nice to be growing up there. And I really like the ocean. Growing up the ocean just gives me a really warm feeling. It's like, it's a great thing to be able to grow up with. And then living in Vancouver Island, it's probably much the same thing because I'm surrounded by ocean. So that was, so that was great. So, and from my childhood in the Philippines, life is fairly tough, but we always survive. Philippines is fairly poor, as you know it. I think 75% of the population is under the poverty line. So it's really a struggle, like living down there to make a living and, try to make it through the day and all that stuff. And we are one of the fortunate people that got lucky and made it over here in Canada. Usually, it's like one of the goals of like Filipinos is to, or any immigrants, like go overseas and make a better living for themselves and be able to look after their family and stuff. So we are one of the lucky few that made it, and I thank God for that we made it through. And basically, I'm a strong believer. Believe in God. Catholics like a big thing in the Philippines. Religion's a big thing in the Philippines. So it's always go hand in hand with our culture. I really I like being the outdoors, especially I ended up working in Tofino at some point in time. So I really like surfing. So I was fortunate enough, like I got lucky enough that I get to learn this stuff. It's like one of the best, hobbies that I ever picked up. I still do it. whenever I get a chance, I would definitely go. Like I would go in a heartbeat any time of the day. I'd surf all day if I could. Like that's one thing I like to do. And also now that I'm here, I pick up snowboarding. So when I was in the island, I was only doing it like once a year or twice a year the most. But last season, so I got here and bought a season's pass. And so the background of my cooking is it's kind of funny because when I was in Nanaimo, there's called Malaspina University back then. Now it's called Vancouver Island University. So after graduating high school, I just like kind of trying to figure out what to do with myself, see if I make a career or do somewhat just to get myself busy. So I went to the administration and asked them, like, hey, I want to apply for computer technician and stuff like that, or computer science actually. And the lady told me, just like, oh, there's like about a 6-month waiting list. So I was like, oh, okay. And then she like mentioned, if you want to get in now, there's like the Cooks program, and there's no waiting list there. So that's how things turned out. So it wasn't my first choice, but kind of, now I'm here, doing my own thing, doing some cooking, running my own business, have a little restaurant, have a little food truck. So it's funny how things work out that way, right? So the process was, as you know, like COVID hit like pretty hard the last year and a half, and living in the island totally like shut down the tourism industry. So for me, I'm just like, well, I think it's time for me to do a move, do something different, and then get out of my bubble. And I was already talking to a friend of mine. He was here. It's actually a good friend of mine. He's one of my best friends. He just told me, just like, dude, pack things up, get your stuff together, and then just move down here and start things up. Because he tried my food already and all that, and he said, just like, and from what I know is that Penticton was open even during COVID time. So that's just basically, COVID gave me the push to like do my own thing. And now I'm here, and basically for the last like 15 years I've been doing restaurants anyway. So I know the ins and outs. It's not just like my first rodeo. So I've done like serving, busing, dishwashing, and cooking. So I know all the aspect of like, run or open a restaurant. So it gives like, I have enough experience and knowledge to like do it and figure it out on my own. So that just gave me the confidence to do it. So it's funny because like one of the restaurants I end up working for in Nanaimo, like that's when the Asian fusion genre was just like exploding, right? That's the trend at the time. So when I work for them, they basically have a Thai chef, they have a Chinese chef, right? And then and my background is French cooking through schooling. So like basically I learned a lot from the chefs that I work with, through experience. Like I was fortunate enough that I'm a fast learner, a quick learner, that I got the things that I need to learn it really quick. And it just kind of stuck in my head, like without me like writing things down and all that stuff. So that's the first part of it. Then after working for them, I ended up working at a sushi restaurant, and I ended up learning sushi from the actual Japanese chefs. So that's another skills and trade that I picked up along the way with all the working for restaurants and stuff like that. So that's where the idea of of the menu is. Like I like it to be diverse. It's good to have some diversity kind of thing. So at least like people have more options to try things out. And then when they come in, it's like, oh, like I could try some Chinese, or maybe I could try some Thai food. So it's just like, yeah, I think it's it's a good concept. I mean, also obviously it's a good concept as long as you're making good food. Yeah, definitely like having some Filipino food like along the way is it's not gonna be hard. It's like it's in the top of my head. Maybe a grab and go like concept. That's something I want to do with like a Filipino food. Definitely, just put it in the fridge, and if you're ready, you just reheat it, and you have a pre-made meal, good to go. So That's as far as like I'm thinking of Filipino food, what I'm doing. When I had my second vaccination, or actually when I had my first vaccination, and I just looking at like how like the nurses and volunteers doing their best to like make things going again and make things better for everybody, and I just came to mind. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get back to them and show my appreciation. And from there, and I talked to the head nurse, the administration, and I let them know, it's like, hey, by the way, I own a food truck, I own a restaurant in Main Street. I'm more than happy to like provide service just to show my appreciation. For you guys, like my sister's on our end, so I know like how hard and what struggles you guys do and all that stuff. So just to show my appreciation, I told them it's like I'm more than happy to come down here and give the volunteers and all the nurses and doctors like some free lunches. And we did it happen like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and that's what we did. And they actually enjoyed mostly everything, and they're very thankful and they're very appreciative, and I feel happy and I feel good about it, and least thing I could do, and yeah, just give back to the community. So yeah, so far like I'm pretty overwhelmed. Things are doing really well, like pretty good. Like I'm like right at the moment, like I'm really having a hard time catching up or keeping up with all the workload that I'm doing. It's really hard. The fact that it's only me doing most of the work. I've been really trying to find more staff, but it's kind of difficult at the moment. I think it's not really, I'm not the only one with that issue. Like I know lots of restaurants or other businesses, especially down the island, people are looking for staffing and all that, but everyone's, especially in the hospitality industry, I think it's very limited right now what they can have. So at the moment, like for me, it's I kind of think ahead with the menu that I had, so it's doable for what like for me that I'd be able to maintain. When push comes to shove, like I'd be able to like wing it, but it would be always nice to have like somebody like who could help me out and have the workload like lighten up a little bit. Well, my advice I would give to them if they make it here, which is really hard for Filipinos to immigrate in Canada or in the US. It's just one of those things, right? So it's a big process. And it's a tedious and expensive process. But once they make it here, like I'll be supported. Like I'll be happy for them that they make it, because like they know they're gonna be able to like make a better living for themselves and their family and all that stuff. And that's one of the reasons why Filipinos immigrate, is to like have a better future, not just for themselves but for the whole family. It's like speaking of families, like it's a big family. It's not just like you and your wife or your kids, but your siblings, your cousins. So anybody's involved. So that's the thing. And if you get it here, like just do your best and pursue any careers that you want to do. And if you have any ideas that you want to do in the later future, you just keep that in mind, and maybe it will come to fruition. And never give up. Just strive for the best, and and with a little bit of help, a little bit of luck, and pray for God above, like things will work out.